They wheeled into a pub next door to the strip club. It was silent. It had bad breath. There were plastic-covered seats with the foam sprouting out, yellow and lumpy. They took their pints of beer and double whisky chasers and sat in a forlorn corner under a picture of Dame Ninette de Valois. There was only one other person in the pub. She was hunched over a dusty egg flip. Her hair was lank and her shoes were scuffed. She wore a short-waisted fur coat pocked with cigarette burns, and there was a leering ladder in her black tights. She smiled at them. She walked across to their table. She sat down with a hip-heavy thump. She swayed in her chair as she struggled to find her lips with her frayed cigarette.
Hello, boys. Placking up carriage before you go next door, are you?
Certainly not, missus. We're a couple of teetotal trolleybus drivers, out on our tea break. You have Sir Douglas Haig.
No, you don't want to go next door, boys. It's rip-off time, I know. I used to work there.
Oh, aye. I didn't know they employed char-ladies in strip clubs.
You cheeky sod. I worked there as an exotic dancer.
And did that involve disrobing yourself in public?
Oh, yeah. And I had to take my clothes off, too. And that's not all, mate. The things I could tell you about what went on in that place would make your hair stand on end.
Oh, aye. What?
One night, someone broke into my dressing room and stole 2 book tokens.
Bloody hell. What was they? Boots or W.H. Smith and Sons?
Boots.
I see. And, have they got pictures of gollywogs on the front?
Yeah. Yeah. How did you know?
Well, intuition, missus. Well, I've always had a keen nose for boot tokens.
Come on, then. Let's get ourselves next door.
Wait a minute, Carter. Hold on. There's no hurry. Let's have another drink. Hey, and whilst you're about it, you can buy this young lady another glass of lemon curd.
It's egg flip.
I see. I like the way you say egg flip.
Do you?
Yes. Will you say it again?
Egg flip.
What about turtle?
Pardon?
Well, that'll do just as good at a pinch.
Carter Brandon went to the bar and fetched more drinks. The woman smiled at Uncle Mort. The purple varnish on her fingernails was cracked.
I used to be beautiful once. I had really big tits.
So did Tommy Foreshaw's mother.
Did she?
Aye, she were forever banging him on the door of the scullery.
Right. That's me finished. Are we off, then?
Tell you what, lad. Why don't you go on your own? I'm not partial to topless table service, me. Well, you never know what foreign bodies are going to dangle in your ale, do you? And besides, I wouldn't like to see this young lady being left on her own. She looks as though she might mug herself, doesn't she?
OK. I'll get another round in and then I'll be off.
He returned to the bar. The woman fumbled with a cigarette. She dropped it. It embedded itself for a moment in the hem of her jacket and burned a small hole in the uncomplaining fur.
I used to be beautiful once, and then my tits started to sag.
That's what happened to the curtains in my mother's front parlour.
I had these lovely long shapely legs, and then they went all skinny and bony.
That's just what happened to my Uncle Strudwick's greyhound. And then it started to smell and bump into the radiogram and they had to have it put down.
How old do you think I am?
63.
You cheeky sod! I'm 42 and I've just joined Greenpeace.
Oh, aye. Didn't they used to open the batting for Lancashire?
No, Pillock. That was Makepeace.
All right, clever Dick. Don't mind him, missus. He didn't know who Cyril Washbrook was till he reached the age of puberty.
Right, then. I'll be off.
Right. And make sure your underpants are done up proper.
Carter Brandon began to make his way slowly to the door. The woman leaned forward and whispered into Uncle Mort's ear.
I'll tell you something about that club.
Go on.
My mum used to work there. She doubled up as novelty snake dancer and part-time barmaid.
I hope she washed her hands proper.
Carter Brandon paused at the door and shouted,
Are you sure you don't want to come?
Bugger off! Leave me in peace!
The woman placed her hand on Uncle Mort's left knee.
It was tragic what happened to my mum.
Was it?
He felt beads of perspiration flustering on his forehead as the woman increased the pressure of her hand on his knee.
Shall I tell you what happened to my old mum?
Yes?
Well, it was ages and ages ago. It was the night of the FA Cup final, and this drunken bastard stood and waved this bloody rattle, and the head flew off and hit my mum straight in the 2 front teeth. Oh, if I could get my hands on him,
Uncle Mort sprang to his feet. He sent the table flying. He dashed out of the pub shouting at the top of his voice.
Got her! Got her! Got her!
He was just in time to stop his nephew handing over his £5 note to the doorkeeper with the gold teeth and the white wrists.
Hey, thank God I found you, Carter. Take me home, lad. Take me back to the digs.
They drove back to Kilburn. They did not speak. They climbed into bed. They did not speak. Uncle Mort took out a bottle of rum from his kit bag and commenced to drink slowly, smacking his lips and grunting. Then he smiled in the darkness and said,
She were a nice woman, wasn't she? That lady with the ex-big tits.
Later, much later, they began to scratch. Uncle Mort scratched. Carter Brandon scratched. They squirmed, they wriggled, they thrashed their limbs. Then Uncle Mort stopped, and very slowly he said,
I've got another riddle for you, lad.
Oh, aye?
What was the name of a famous exotic lady dancer who was troubled during the night by unwanted nocturnal insects?
I don't know. Who?
Gypsy Rose Flea.
That night, it thundered.
That was A Night on the Town. Stephen Thorne played Uncle Mort, Sam Kelly was Carter Brandon, Liz Golding was the nice woman, and Christopher Good was the doorkeeper. The narrator was Christian Rodska. Uncle Mort's South Country was written by Peter Tinniswood and produced by Pete Atkin.